term 6. So for this term, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the extended metaphor in poetry in half of our lessons. And then the other half of our lessons, we're going to be looking at advertising and how to create an effective advertising campaign, of being persuasive and exploring some different types of advertising. Why is it we're doing this? Well, we're doing extended metaphor. We're doing the metaphor itself because it's really, really important that you understand the elements of metaphor. It's such a huge thing in literature, and it will really set you up for next year and the year after when we come to study other texts, every kind of text you can imagine. Lots of them have metaphor within them. It's a really powerful thing in English, and it's really important that you understand what it is. Title of this lesson is Hope, because it's the name of the poem which we're going to be looking at. Sorry, a bit of a delay there. So what is hope? And what do you hope for? So hope's a feeling of expectation that something might happen, or wanting something to happen. So at the moment, we may well be hoping to see our loved ones, see our family that we haven't seen because we've been in lockdown. But it may be hoping for sunny weather like it is today. Or might be hoping for a loved one to get better. Or might be hoping that one day you'll be a vet. The idea of hope is really, really important in life because it can be such a positive thing. It can be a want to make your life better. It's by holding on to that hope that can help us get through a tough situation and ultimately can help us to reach our goals. For example, if you hope to be a vet, well, how are you supposed to get there? Having that hope will enable you to get where you want to be in life and do the things that you want to do. It's a really powerful tool in making sure that we're okay and in pushing us forward. Okay. So metaphor. This is a recap from last term. If you did the lessons last term, this will be a recap for you. Metaphor has got 3 parts. The first is the tenor. That is the thing you want to try and describe to your audience. The second is the vehicle. This is the idea that you come up with to compare it to help your audience understand. That's the made up bit. The tenor is the thing you're trying to describe. The vehicle is the imaginative idea that you compare it with, the made up bit. And then third is the ground. That's the thing they have in common. That's why you're using this metaphor. So what things do that tenor and vehicle have in common? We're going to keep going back to this. It's really, really important that you know the tenor, the vehicle, and the ground. So if you remember from the poem Frogs from last term, in the poem it had many different metaphors. In all of these metaphors, the tenor was the same, always frogs, but the vehicle, the thing that the frogs were compared to, were different. Because they were different, therefore the ground was also different. Today we're going to look at a special type of metaphor. It's the extended metaphor. In an extended metaphor, the tenor is the same and the vehicle is the same. And they just go throughout the poem. That's why we call it extended. There are lots and lots of different grounds or lots and lots of reasons why the tenor and vehicle have been used, or why the vehicle has been used, what links those two things together. This allows, as it says there, it allows a writer to explore the comparison in depth. So the poem we're going to read today is called Hope is the Thing with Feathers. Hope is the Thing with Feathers. Written by Emily Dickinson around 1860. Just looking at that title, think about what you think the tenor, the thing which is being described, and the vehicle may be. Think about what is a thing, what things have feathers. Okay, I'm going to read it through, and I'd like to pause and read it through at least once again yourself. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. Okay, pause the video, read it again yourself, look at the glossary on the right hand side to help you. Do that now. Okay, hopefully you've read it through at least once or twice. And you may well be thinking about, right, the tenor and vehicle in this poem. Okay, the tenor is hope. It's what we spoke about at the start. Hope is the thing which is being described, but the vehicle, what's it being compared to? Well, that thing with feathers is a little bird. That's the vehicle. So all the way throughout the poem, we have that same tenor. It's all about hope. And the thing it's being compared to all the way through the poem is a little bird. So let's have a look a little bit more closely at that little bird. And what I want you to do is, on your copy of the poem, underline the actions that the bird takes. So the first one has been done for you. So hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul. So I've underlined perches in the soul because that's one of the actions that the bird is taking. Pause the video now and underline all the actions the bird takes. Okay, so hopefully you've done that. If we've got perches in the soul, sings the tune without the words, so the bird is singing, never stops at all, never stops. Kept so many warm, the idea of the little bird keeping warm, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. So never in the most extreme situation does it ask anything of me. So if you've got all those, fantastic, well done. If you haven't, add them in, underline them. That's all of the actions that the bird takes within the poem. So perched in soul, sings the tune, kept so many warm, never asked a crumb of me. So now we need to think about why. So what's the ground? What's the thing that joins these two together? What is it that joins together hope and the actions of these little birds? So from the four which we underlined, I'd like you to have a go at identifying what the ground might be. Now you could just write this on your poem or write this on a sheet of paper. How is the behaviour of the bird similar, or could be seen as similar, to what hope is? So the first one, I'll do the first one with you. It perches in the soul. It perches in the soul. It's the idea that it's ready, it's within you. Hope is within you all the time, ready to be called upon whenever. Just like a little bird perching, sitting there, ready to take flight. Okay, so pause your video and have a go at writing down the ground for those four vehicles. Okay, hopefully you've paused and you've had a little go at this. Let me run through some of the ideas that you could have come up with. So I've already said about when a bird is perching, it's ready to take flight. So the idea that hope is always within you, ready to be called upon. A bird singing. So if we go back, we've got it sings the tune without words and never stops at all. So a bird singing is reassurance that this hope can keep you company. And the idea that birdsong lifts your mood. Hope can also lift your mood. And then if we go, it kept so many warm. So birds shelter their own young to keep them warm and alive when they're in the nest. So it can be seen as an emotion that helps make you feel warm. The idea of hope can make you feel warm and sheltered inside. It's ready to comfort you. It can keep your spirits up. And then lastly, never ask anything at all. The idea that the bird isn't taking anything away from the speaker in the poem, just like hope doesn't take anything away from you. The idea that hope is a positive force. Never ask for anything. It's just something which can be really positive. Okay, great. So we've gone through the tenor, hope, vehicle, little bird, and there we've got the ground, so the reason why. And here is our key question to answer, okay, which I'd like you to answer on your paper, write it down, and then send it in to your English teacher. So in the poem, how does Emily Dickinson show that hope is important to people's lives? So the things you need to include, you've got to include some evidence in the poem. So one of those vehicles which we found, one of those actions of the bird, maybe perching in the soul. Make sure you include her name in the poem, in your answer. That's really important. And then lastly, why you think she's compared hope to a little bird. So from that last slide, the things that we said, the ideas which we had for the ground, include all of those in your answer in as much detail as you can. If you want a sentence starter, there's one there. Dickinson shows that hope is important to people's lives. ... I'm going to show you on the next slide. You can either pause there if you're confident, or I'm going to show you on the next slide a model answer, and then you can compare yours against that or use it to help you. So here's the model. Emily Dickinson shows that hope is important to people's lives. There should be an apostrophe there, by comparing it to a little bird. Well done if you can spot where the apostrophe should go. People's lives. She says that hope perches in the soul. When a bird is perching, it is ready to take flight at any moment. This comparison shows that hope is always within you, ready to be called upon. So we're taking ideas from the ground there. So what is it that joins those two things together, hope and a little bird? Dickinson also shows that hope is there to comfort you through the worst of times in your life. She says that the little bird kept so many warm. Just like birds shelter their young, hope is there to shelter you during your personal storm. Okay, make sure that you've got an answer for this. You've got somewhere in your book you've written what tenor, vehicle, and ground mean. You've read through the poem. You've had a go at answering the question. And then once you've done that, let's have a look at our question. So which of these statements are true about the extended metaphor? A, in an extended metaphor, tenors and vehicles are not linked. B, in an extended metaphor, the tenor and vehicle extend throughout a poem. C, poets use the extended metaphor to explore a subject in depth. D, the extended metaphor uses related vehicles. E, there is only one ground in the extended metaphor. So which ones of those are correct? Pause the video, and then I'm going to change it over in 3, 2, and 1. So B, C, and D are all true. A and E is not. So in extended metaphor, tenor and vehicle extend throughout a poem. We said that right at the start. Poets use the extended metaphor to explore a subject in depth, and the extended metaphor uses related vehicles. The vehicles are very similar. So we've got the little bird, and the way that it moved was all quite similar. Okay, that's it for today's lesson. Any problems, hit up your English teachers and we'll be more than keen to help. Stay safe and look after each other. Be kind. Cheerio.